Dallas, Texas. A corporate CEO sits back in his leather chair and laughs at a young entrepreneur trying to sell him a struggling DVD startup. The price tag was $50 million, a tiny fraction of Blockbuster's $6 billion empire. The strange part is that this rejected startup would soon grow to be worth $13 billion, while the laughing giant choked on $1 billion of debt. This is the story of how a retail empire panicked, bled cash on its own customers, and systematically destroyed itself from the inside out. To understand how this empire crumbled, we first have to look at the sheer scale of its power. Founded in 1985 by David Cook and aggressively expanded by Wayne Huizenga after 1987, Blockbuster became a global cultural powerhouse. By the early 2000s, it operated over 9,000 stores worldwide, and by 2004, its peak year, it was generating a staggering $6 billion in annual revenue. For millions of families, Friday night meant walking through those bright blue and yellow neon doors. But this massive empire had a dark, systemic secret. It was built on a foundation of customer frustration. Blockbuster's business model relied heavily on late fees, which generated $800 million a year, accounting for 16% of its total revenue. Think of it like a gym membership that secretly hopes you never show up. Except here, they penalized you for keeping the product. This reliance on late fees created a toxic, perverse incentive. To protect their profits, executives had to keep punishing their own customers, creating a ticking time bomb of consumer resentment. In 1997, a man named Reed Hastings got hit with a $40 late fee for a rented copy of Apollo 13. Infuriated, Hastings teamed up with Mark Randolph to launch a no-late-fee subscription service called Netflix. By the year 2000, Netflix was struggling to survive, burning through cash. Hastings, along with CFO Barry McCarthy, flew to Dallas to meet with Blockbuster CEO John Antioco. They proposed a simple partnership. Netflix would run Blockbuster's online brand, and Blockbuster would buy Netflix for $50 million. But Antioco, riding high on Blockbuster's massive retail footprint, viewed Netflix as a niche, unprofitable mailing service. He practically laughed them out of the room. It was a fatal misjudgment. What Antioco didn't realize was that he had just rejected the keys to the future. But instead of quietly fading away, Netflix survived, posting its first profit of $6.5 million by 2003. And when Blockbuster finally realized the danger, their reaction wasn't a calculated pivot. It was a multi-billion-dollar panic. Desperate to show Wall Street they understood the digital age, Blockbuster rushed into a massive, highly publicized 20-year partnership with Enron Broadband Services in 2000. The plan was to deliver movies on demand directly to people's homes. It sounded revolutionary, but the technology was premature, and the partner was deeply corrupt. Within a year, Enron collapsed into one of the largest corporate frauds in history, dragging the digital deal down with it. Blockbuster's misdirected digital attempt evaporated overnight. By 2002, hit by mounting debts and failed initiatives, Blockbuster posted a breathtaking $1.6 billion loss. The company was bleeding, but the worst was yet to come. In 2004, Viacom, which had acquired Blockbuster back in 1994 for $8.4 billion, decided it had seen enough. Viacom spun Blockbuster off, leaving the video giant to fend for itself in a rapidly changing market, burdened with legacy debts and a business model that was rapidly spoiling. Now independent, Blockbuster launched a double-pronged attack in 2004. They introduced Blockbuster Online and made the shocking announcement that they were eliminating their highly profitable late fees. This move immediately wiped out a massive chunk of their revenue, but they felt they had no choice. The rivalry between the two companies became deeply personal. During a conference call, Netflix CEO Reed Hastings told financial analysts that Blockbuster had thrown everything but the kitchen sink at us to stop their growth. The very next day, a package arrived at Netflix headquarters. Hastings opened it to find an actual, physical kitchen sink, sent directly by Blockbuster's marketing team. It was a funny PR stunt, but behind the scenes, Blockbuster's finances were in absolute chaos. They were bleeding cash to build an online infrastructure, while simultaneously starving their physical stores of the capital they needed to survive. In late 2006, CEO John Antioco launched his ultimate weapon, the Total Access Program. Brilliant deal for customers. You paid a monthly subscription to rent DVDs online, and when you were done, you could return them to a physical Blockbuster store and instantly exchange them for a free in-store movie rental. Customers loved it. Blockbuster Online gained millions of subscribers almost overnight, putting massive pressure on Netflix. But there was a devastating catch. The program was a financial suicide mission. For every single free in-store movie exchange, it cost Blockbuster $2 in lost rental revenue and shipping costs. They were literally buying market share by losing money on every transaction. It was a classic panic strategy, burning the house down to keep warm. Enter Carl Icahn, the legendary activist investor who had bought a massive stake in the company, looked at the numbers and was horrified. Icahn initiated a brutal boardroom war, refusing to tolerate the massive losses of Total Access. This internal conflict led to the departure of CEO John Antioco in 2007, and with him, the Total Access strategy was abruptly killed. To replace Antioco, Icahn brought in James Keyes, a retail executive who shifted the focus back to the physical stores, believing digital was overhyped. But the digital tide could not be stopped. In 2007, Netflix launched its streaming service, rendering physical DVDs increasingly obsolete. Trapped by its massive debt, Blockbuster could no longer afford to pivot. On September 23, 2010, Blockbuster officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, burdened by nearly $1 billion in debt. By that time, Netflix, the tiny startup Blockbuster could have bought for $50 million, was valued at over $13 billion. In 2011, Dish Network acquired the remains of Blockbuster for $320 million, eventually closing almost all corporate-owned stores by 2013. Thousands of employees lost their jobs, franchisees saw their life savings vanish, and investors like Carl Icahn suffered massive losses. Today, only one franchise store remains open worldwide, in Bend, Oregon, managed by Sandy Harding, serving as a nostalgic tourist attraction. The story of Blockbuster is not just a tale of a company that failed to see the future. It is the story of an empire that was trapped by its own early success, relying on late fees that alienated its customers, and then destroying its own financial health through a series of desperate, debt-fueled panic strategies. By rejecting Netflix for $50 million in 2000, John Antioco sealed the fate of his own giant. They spent billions trying to correct that single mistake, only to bleed themselves to death. But Blockbuster's fatal, desperate reliance on a corrupt partner like Enron wasn't the only time a corporate giant was blinded by rapid, unchecked growth and creative accounting. A very similar web of deception was spinning halfway across the world, where another tech giant was building a billion-dollar empire on pure fiction. And that is the next case. India's Enron, the tech king who built a billion-dollar lie.